Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. And I bid you a 111 welcome to the bar today. Today promises to be a very interesting one, as we're going to be talking about a lot of things. You know that there were elections over the weekend. Interesting news because, before we didn't really used to bother about local government or local council elections. But I think that after the what was that English that they used that time there? Anyway, all of a sudden, like the past 1 year, I'll remember the word, but autonomy, yeah, that's the word. After the autonomy of local government, I think a lot of governments have made it more interesting, and so there's a lot more awareness there's a lot more money going to local governments, which means that there's a lot more awareness with local government elections. And over the weekend there were elections in the FCT, in Rivers State and Kano State, three very interesting areas in Nigeria. So we're going to be looking a lot about those elections, especially most of the conversation now is looking at elections around those places, how parties did, and what happens going forward. We're going to be looking a lot about that today. Also, quite a number of things happen. NAFDAC is on the news again. Kudos to them, they're doing a lot of work. Also, there's a bit of would I say education news, not very good news, yeah, but the news from Uni Abuja and OAU we're going to be looking through. We're going to be seeing, if time permits us, a bit of foreign news and a lot of sport news as well. Ukeke promises hi, good morning. Okay, no, this is me. So hi, Ukeke promise. We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot of other things today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show with us. My name is Dolupo, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Boom Bar. Thank God it's Monday.
And so that's it. We're going straight into it because today we have plenty talk. And of course, the thing that is burning on everybody's lips is the elections. So it's very interesting, the kind of things that happened over the weekend. It was quite it was quite interesting, let me put it like that. Maybe for someone like me though, I would say that I was not surprised, but I think that we can agree that it was kind of supposed to be a litmus test for two bodies. First, the Nigerian opposition, or the opposition that is just brewing now, and for INEC. Let's speak from INEC in the angle that there is a new chairman. We know that he had conducted the Anambra elections, but also, maybe not just that, there is a newly signed electoral act that he has to follow. So I would say that maybe that was a litmus test, maybe not more on INEC, but more on how they carry out the electoral act. So there was a lot of conversation around that. And now on the side of the opposition as well, whether we like it or not, whether local government elections or not, it is also a way to test your popularity, to see, okay, we've been going on for months, is this thing working or not? So first thing, before we break it down, would we say that the results of the elections, now for people that do not know, looking at it, if we go to Kano State, actually Kano basically also cleared River. So APC cleared Rivers election, if I'm correct. The APC also won basically in Rivers, in Kano, and Abuja. Abuja is probably one of the very interesting ones. Also, we know that Rivers, would I say that Rivers and Kano, this kind of things happen a lot. The party that the governor is in mostly wins the elections, but Abuja has always been a battleground for every president. You think that should happen, as the president is the governor of Abuja constitutionally, yeah. So, but Abuja has always been a battleground. I just saw a video that someone had reposted of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari calling Abuja a necessary evil. That so over time, I don't think that governments, mostly the federal government, even though that's the seat of power, has really been so interested in the elections going on in Abuja. My own deductions, not that I'm saying that that's what happens, but in this particular one, you can see that there would seem to be a lot more verve about the elections. Now, with the results that came out of 6 area councils in Abuja, APC won 5 and PDP won 1. I don't know how true it is yet, but according to talks, I'm not sure about that, but there's also talk that the person that won in PDP, the only PDP person, has now decamped to APC this morning. I don't know how true that is, but the truth is that APC had 5, this PDP had 1. This is probably the best they've ever done in Abuja, because like I said, it's always a battleground. It's always, oh, maybe they have 3, PDP has 3, and all that. So when we look at these results, SR, can we categorically say that, or would I, this is now you, maybe don't let me say we, what were the results across the 3 states, were they expected, or did you think there was anything that would be different?
Well, the first thing that I actually wanted to say is that the elections in the other states were not necessarily going to go that way, because they're not necessarily local government per se like that.
Oh yeah, the by-elections and all that.
So
yeah, I agree.
That's just for us to clear the air on that one.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
the thing there is that it was in Kano is where the litmus test was actually being carried out, because the governor of Kano is seen as someone who was put there by his father-in-law, Kwankwaso, and he branched out on his own, and this would have been more or less the first time that he was testing himself politically to see if he had the clout or the numbers to pull it off. But people forget that in Kano, the APC with Ganduje and the other top people also have a strong followership.
So with or without the governor,
that
APC don't do
certain
badly.
Way. They have to go a certain way. But the word on the street, according to some people on the streets of social media, was like, oh, that even these candidates are Kwankwaso candidates and all of that.
Okay.
That's what some people are saying on the street. I just said to bring it to your knowledge.
Oh, they're Kwankwaso candidates, but they're in the APC.
Yeah, that's what some people say.
Okay, interesting.
So that's just one aspect of the Kano elections.
Okay.
And while that election was going on, the APC Situation Room actually had Ganduje in there in Abuja, not in Kano.
Now you get what I'm saying. I saw a video also where the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives was in the Situation Room as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sure I've seen the federal be this invested in the Abuja council elections.
Okay, so what it is, in my opinion, is that we've done Kano now. Before I go to Abuja, let's go to Rivers State.
Yeah.
Now in Rivers State, they also had the by-elections and all of that, and the APC cleared that one. But in Rivers State, similar to the Kano situation, the lines are blurred. Like in Kano, with NNPP and APC now is not so clear. You get some are moving this way, some are moving that way. So, but of course, the APC won, at least on paper. In Rivers, the same thing. APC won, at least on paper. And the reason why I say that is that there is a weaker faction in the APC in Rivers State. You might not want to believe it, but it's actually true. So while he says it's still in the PDP, the APC won in Rivers, and of course it's been celebrated by APC and PDP. But the PDP I'm talking about now is the weaker side of PDP, because there still exists the Makinde and the rest side of PDP. Now let's go to Abuja. One of the things that has brought this to the fore is the credence that the opposition actually placed on this election, not the APC. In a local government election that had 3 potential presidential aspirants campaigning for one chairmanship candidate. Now, what people need to understand is that there are 6 seats that were up for grabs, 6 chairmanship
I was going to say that what happened to the
6.
rest? How come
But
they were only campaigning for Abuja?
So AMAC is the central part of Abuja, and that is where even the seat of the president is.
Yeah.
So it was looking more like optics and bragging rights than any other thing. Although also it should also have to do with the kind of allocations and funds that AMAC would have access to, being the main area of Abuja. Now, there were 5 other parts of Abuja that were up for grabs. In the last elections, I think it was a 3-3 split between PDP and APC. It was a serious battle. Now, Nyesom Wike is a PDP card carrying member through and through and true and true. I like to use those 2 words deliberately because they mean almost the same thing, but they mean different things too. So he's a PDP card carrying member, but he kept on saying that he was going to do enough for the person who selected him or appointed him. Appointed is the right word, to win. What it was that before these elections, for instance, Abuja is entitled to 1 senator, and the senator is became senator on the bill of Labour Party, Ireti Kingebe. The House of Rep members that they have and all were also, of course, I think they were Labour Party or whatever. But this is where the issue is, and this is what I understand about Abuja politics. Abuja has for long had its own indigents subverted. They've been kept in the back. They've not really had a chance to express themselves. This is the first time that an indigene of Abuja became a minister. And it's under...
Minister or chairman?
Minister. You can look into it.
I don't understand. What do you mean by minister? Is Nyesom Wike not a minister?
No, I'm not talking about the minister of the Federal Territory. This is the first time that Abuja indigenes are getting top appointments. Let me rephrase so that we don't waste time on that.
Okay.
You can look into what I said.
What do you mean by minister? Please, I need to explain.
An indigene of Abuja becoming a minister. An indigene of Abuja being appointed into top places. Indigene, people who are the real Abuja people. The Gbagi and the rest of them.
Who is minister?
Well, I said let's not waste time on it. Let's assume it's a mistake on my own part. I'm just saying that. Just leave it. Don't worry. We don't have time. But while we're here, you can be looking it up too, if you want to. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that this is the first time that the people of Abuja are actually being heard. So the main area in Abuja, the PDP were going to put out a candidate, and some of those candidates were in the PDP. There's another group that actually had gone to join the ADC. And some of the top candidates in Abuja who were known Abuja people. Now, one of them is not even an indigene, but he's been in Abuja for decades, so he's like one of them. Was going to get the candidacy of the ADC, but the ADC decided to field a Peter Obi person in the person of Dr. Mo. That's his name, an Abuja resident, and he went head to head against an indigene. An indigene. That's what the APC did for them. The APC brought someone who is a proper Abuja person.
Can we also talk about the fact that there was conversation that even within the ADC, this person was handpicked. There was no...
I just said it that...
No, I'm saying like there were no primaries. So with that, could it also mean that not having primaries to even test your popularity in the party itself?
So the party knew, the ADC knew what they were doing.
Also worked against them?
They knew what they were doing. It's now that you can say it worked against them. They knew what they were doing in the sense that the person they picked is one of Peter Obi's right-hand men.
Yeah.
And they picked him solely because of Peter Obi. And they were trying to use Peter Obi's name and his persona and his perceived popularity to win that election.
So can we say that that perceived popularity that maybe Peter Obi thinks he has is not extended to Abuja?
Was he extended to Benin? Olumide Akpata?
Because no. Why
was he extended to
Benin?
So was he extended to Anambra?
So now, if we go by that, aren't we just seeing unnecessary drama that's gonna happen in 2020? Because if I just don't want to say some things, but you know what? At this point, if this is the level of unseriousness that we're going to see at the 2027 elections, let's wrap it up. We can as well wrap up the elections now. And why I'm saying so is, like you said, there were no proper primaries, meaning that let's first test the person at the party level. There's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk since yesterday that this person was handpicked, and this, by going by that, there were a lot of disgruntled ADC people. This person is not even from Abuja; it's from Benue State.
So it's
There's
always
also sorry, I just wanted
it's
to
always
lay out
been
some things.
all right.
There's also the fact that I did not hear of any. I don't live in Abuja though, but I did not hear of any other candidate in the remaining 5 local councils. And my point is, even if they had 1-5 and not 1 Abuja, it doesn't see on paper, or even not even on paper. In reality, it wasn't that. Wouldn't that have been a better win? There are also 62 council seats. There were 62 councillors that were also elected. We did not hear anything from the ADC. And then we talk about structure and people have an issue with it. If you don't have councillors, out of 6, you're only campaigning for 1. Make it make sense. There were 62 plus 6, that's 68 seats. Parties were fighting for 68. And you were hooked up on 1. Even the one that you were hooked up on, they couldn't even get enough agents in every polling unit in just 1. So what are we now doing? Isn't it better? Let us wrap it up, because I think that even as depleted as everybody wants to say that the PDP has been, the PDP could still take 1 seat, 1 out of 6. And then because at this point, is it me, but the ADC is beginning to look like rabble rousers. They are just noise on social media and nothing else. The Dr. Bo, the day before the elections, came out, was doing all sorts of interviews and all sorts of... I saw a video where he said, oh, somebody should go and tell Wike Abuja is not Obiakpo. Okay, now that Abuja is not Obiakpo, what have you done? Even in his polling units that he claimed to have won, he only got 7 votes in his polling units. Are you telling me that in your area where you vote, you could not gather 20 people to come out and vote for you? Only 7 people in the so-called polling unit you claim you won. Please, what is 7 votes going to do in thousands of votes? What's the plan? Like, I need ADC. How does Peter Obi and Atiku come to campaign for you and you still cannot win 1 seat? You were not even fighting for 68. You were fighting for just 1. And you could not even win it. What are we now doing? Are we not jokers in this country? And you will not now say APC will not win. Are you not a joke? Because what are you thinking? No, I'm already vexing. Don't let me be angry.
All right, it is what it is, and just like I was trying to establish earlier, that so the thing that's happened in Abuja is that, for instance, there's a man called Zephaniah Gisalo, who is the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, and is an Abuja indigene, and that's the person I was referring to in my intro, that a minister, for the first time, that they actually have an indigene, and in the political organogram or structure, is the highest placed indigene in government. You get, because their senator is not from Abuja. So a lot of those things are changing.
Oh, she's not from Abuja.
No, Ireti Kingibe. Ireti Kingibe. She's not. She's not an Abuja indigen. All right, so that's what I was basically trying to say, that for the first time, the Abuja people are seeing a trend, and they're saying I also think that they're saying the infrastructural development that's happening in their towns, that places that hitherto had been neglected are now being, touched with, road expansions, schools are being built, a whole lot of things are happening. And I think that swayed them a lot, because it is that against, if you were going to look at it, if you're doing organograms, a Peter Obi being a presidential candidate, an Atiku being a presidential candidate, and Rotimi Amici being a presidential aspirant, means that the only other person that probably is on their level is a Bola Tinubu. So if they're out campaigning for a local government chairman, one of 6, Tinubu should also be out campaigning for a local government chairman.
Yeah.
We're talking one of 6.
Yeah.
You get, so the Baggy people, the Koro people, the indigenous people of Abuja have actually been partying for the past 2 days. There are actually live feeds and videos of them having spontaneous parties. They're having rallies. And you know why? Again, they're actually celebrating the fact that more or less they're finally getting their voices heard, and their own people are now becoming prominent in government. So there's a lot of talk about this and that. People are not facing the facts. The facts are, you fielded a Benue indigene versus an Abuja indigene, running with the ruling party, backed by, you might not like Wike, but he's a performing minister. Yeah, you don't need to like him. He's backed by all of that. What were you thinking? You get, now, one of the first posts that went viral on Twitter on Saturday was a lady, a self-professed obedient, who had gone to vote in the central area. And when she got there was no agent from the ADC. There was no agent. In fact, people were tweeting at her and say, "Oh, why don't you become the agent? Act like the agent." You have to be accredited to become an agent.
Like,
do you understand? And it leads me back to the song that we've been singing here. In fact, immediately I saw that thing, I just laughed. Now, picture this. A local government election in Abuja, 6 seats were up for grabs. 6 chairmanship seats. 62 local government. We're talking about less than 3,000 polling units.
Yeah.
Less than 3,000 polling units. So, approximately 2,000 something polling units.
For the correct number.
What the ADC had to show their level of seriousness is, like I said, 2 agents and 1 canvasser. 3 people times the number of polling units. But even in central area, in most of the polling units, they did not have agents. You see, now back to the Electoral Act and the INEC and all the things that have been said about INEC. Elections were being transmitted in real time.
So there are 2,822 polling units in Abuja.
I know. That's why I just rounded up. I said less than. Thank you for the precision. Yeah. But less than 3,000. So if you have 2,820 times 3, those are the number of agents that the ADC had to have. Now, the day before, I was monitoring them and I saw the tags that they had for agents. As at that time when you are posting those tags, they should have been distributed. Your agents should have been in their vicinities and their locales. Remember that there was restriction of movement.
Are we even not talking about the fact that they didn't even have candidates for other polling?
Let's leave that one aside. The place that they had candidates, did they have agents to cover the entire AMAC? Do you understand?
That's what I'm saying. That is ridiculous now.
And
you're taking people for granted at this point.
A lot of people are angry and they're following the noise on the streets. But one, I've shown you the angle of the indigenes of Abuja. They are very happy with the results.
Yeah.
2, INEC transmitted those results in real time. In real time. They did. Do you understand? If you were checking the platform, you will see as those things were being updated. But the angle to it that people don't get is that they're angry over nothing. The Electoral Act says if this fails, use this. You're saying that's a way to rig. Okay, if this fails, what should they use? If they cannot transmit results electronically, what happens to those people's results? Put that aside. They now, and I have been saying it actually, and I know Dolupo is, we're saying, picture if in the 2,822 units, they had enough agents. They, in their own situation, okay, let's talk situation rooms. Did you know that the ADC had 2 situation rooms? There was one that was peopled by the obedience, and there was one that was peopled by ADC party members. Where is the synergy? Where is the coalition? That there are 2 different. Do you know what the situation room is? Do you know what the control room is? You have 2.
Can we?
I have come to the conclusion that the ADC is not ready, and they showed it because I thought they were going to put their weight in other elections. They didn't. People said we should give them time, but in an election where they had someone of Atiku's caliber, they had Ireti Kengibe, a sitting senator, campaigning for one particular candidate, and that candidate can only get 7 votes at his own polling unit. 7. Bad as I bad, in my own estate, if I come out for whatever elective post, I will get more than 7. No, and I will not have any presidential candidate lifting my hand up because they don't know me. Do you understand? There is no way you want to be the chairman of AMAC, which is arguably one of the biggest local governments in Abuja, and in your own locale you had 7 votes. 7. So all this talk about rigging and whatever, what did you do? Did you have enough candidates? Agents? You also didn't even have enough candidates. You didn't even have you didn't even have councillors contesting. How many councillors did you have? Of 62?
None. Can we also talk about
Nigeria's
the fact,
opposition must wake up.
Can we also talk about the fact that everybody was going on about electronic transmission of results? Yeah. However, this election, which I think is we'll say that would officially cement what we talked about over and over again last week, about the fact that we talked about how transmission of results is not the problem of Nigeria, of elections. How come there was electronic transmission of results and y'all still didn't win the election? What has it changed? Did it change the pattern of the elections?
Sadly, there are about 2 images of mutilated from EC8s that are being paraded around. If you go and check on the official portal, it's not there. Okay. So what they have done is that some agents of the ADC have also, just to create some kind of narrative, they've gone to TPEX and do something, then take pictures of that and push it out. Look at that particular form. Which agent signed it? Who are the agents that signed that form? We're not ready.
So that's what I'm saying. So our so-called transmission of results, which a lot of people from, I think it's only Atiku that did not go and protest, from Amechi to Peter Obi and to a lot of people, which honestly I believe a lot of so-called Nigerian activists now. Sadly, some people, one person that I even seem to know a little bit personally, I saw people that in my books they don't have anything going on in their personal lives that have suddenly become activists, did all the protests and everything, and it still did not translate to winning an election. Explain to me how that is your problem, because we have moved on. This was just a practical example of how the problem of your party is not transmission of results. The only one out of which I think that, can we also explain the fact that it is appalling that the ADC did not have councillors, or we did not hear about it. Out of 6 council seats, area council seats, there was only one candidate in one. Whether it's a council seat or a councillor, at the end of the day, they are all electable seats, meaning that there's 68 seats that needed to be filled, and you were only campaigning for one. And the only one that you were campaigning for, you still couldn't garner enough energy to win it. Isn't it just ridiculous? Because let's call a spade a spade. How is it that the only one that you were working towards, the only one that you got 2 former presidential candidates to one former vice president, 1 former governor, a sitting senator to come and campaign for?
2 former governors.
2 former governors. And you could not still win it. So if you, after all that so-called influence, you cannot win one area council, how do you want to win a presidential election? Make it make sense. Again, I say, as depleted as PDP will be, you say, oh, they did it purposely. The PDP was attached to Wike. Other one, to me, is story. Because even if it's Wike, there is a level of, it means that there's still a level of influence that the PDP, even if it's controlled by Wike, there's a level of influence that the PDP that we know that has been depleted still has, that is enough to still win one of the 6 area councils. So what are we now talking about? Are we not just jokers? I don't know. Don't let me say what they will say. Dolupo is being biased. But I think that if you say you want to join ADC now, you are just wasting your time.
I don't think it's that bad. I know it's bad, but I don't think it's that bad. I think one of the things that we need now, and what needs to happen, one of the things that needs to happen, is for the opposition to actually do a proper self-assessment. Stop fooling people. Stop telling all these lies, and stop all this sentimental game. Actually assess where you are. Assess your situations and know your assets. Then move forward with it. The way things are, the PDP is still very relevant. Whether it's factionalized or not, it's obvious that it's still a stronger party than the ADC. And it showed in their showing, because even in the places where they did not win, they had good numbers.
Yes, I agree.
And that also shows that people still understand the 1999 PDP brand. That since that 1999 till today, some people just still are die-hard PDP, dyed in wool PDP supporters.
I agree.
So if you really want to build a strong opposition, the ADC needs to talk to the PDP. Again, there's going to be big problems if Atiku, Obi, Amechi, and any other person are nursing presidential ambitions. If, as at now, this is February, and there will be an election in a year's time.
Yeah, it's less than a year.
If, as at now, we don't know who the potential presidential candidate is.
No.
I don't care about.
Do you even know which parties some of them are?
They are all in the ADC. They are all ADC card carrying members. We also saw the public declaration by all 3 of them. So these are facts. Let's go with the facts and not the sentiments. The fact is that if by now they are all still campaigning and they are all still trying to outsmart each other, like the day one buys granite, the other one will go and buy crown. That's not how it should be. By now,
Lord.
if these guys are really serious about being opposition, by now one of them should be clear. One of them should be clear, and the others should know. They're either going to be a vice president or vice presidential candidate or something else, but not president. It will hurt their brand if they continue playing this cat and mouse game within the ADC. As at this time, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, or shall I say 12 years ago, or 11 or 13 years ago, whatever number of years, it was clear that Buhari was ahead of all the other candidates. Yes, they had primaries.
Yeah.
But everybody knew that Buhari was ahead.
Yeah.
When the APC started.
Yeah.
It was clear. It was very clear.
Yeah. Same thing with Bola Tinubu as well. There was at least you knew.
It wasn't clear with Tinubu's one because Amechi,
Sure.
Oshibajo, Lawan were all in the fray. You see, when there's when a president, an incumbent cannot contest anymore, there's more names.
It opens up.
It's a different scenario with you trying to take over. You know, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku wants to contest. Everybody knows. So it's either Obi and Amechi get behind him, and amongst themselves, maybe they pick one of them as vice, and they start to walk towards that.
Can we talk about how?
Or Obi is the candidate, Atiku is vice again. He can't be. He's been vice for 8 years. Somebody else is vice, Abi, and they all agree to work together. But you see, for as long as they all have their personal ambition and they place it ahead of the ADC and so-called opposition or leading opposition, then forget it. It's going to be a walk in the park for the APC. And why will it be? They have shown their hands. All their governors, the bulk of them are seeking re-election. What that means is that they would have to work so that they can also win.
Yeah, can we talk about, before we leave this matter, can we talk about how, and this is maybe just my personal opinion, but we've seen it happen over and over again, that I don't think that there's any candidate in the ADC that can officially kick out Atiku Abubakar if he does not step down.
Well, yeah, that's an opinion. I'm not going to argue with that. I not like I agree 100% with it, but I'm not going to argue with that. It's just an opinion that you have. Because if they go by the new Electoral Act, if there are no more candidates, do you know?
There are no more delegates.
Delegates. Thanks for the correction. Right word is delegates. If there are no more delegate system, and it's now popular vote within the party, it's very possible that anybody can hijack the ADC from Obi to Atiku to Amechi.
Okay, we'll definitely we'll see that matter. But anyway, let's move on. I'm sure that this conversation, especially about the Abuja elections, are not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're going to be looking about like that. But quickly, let's go quickly to Anambra State, where the state government today has ordered the closure of Nnewi Auto Spare Parts Market again for 1 week. Why? They haven't gotten the memo that there's no more sit at home on Monday. So looks like the governor is really, really serious, as every Monday, if he's not going to do some inspection by himself, is deploying officials of the state government. And this is exactly what happened today, where special advisors to the governor on trades and market went ahead on a visit to the Nnewi market, and he was shot.
I think I agree with the approach of Governor Soludo. If you're going to be doing something that is outlawed and it's not supposed to be happening, then Kuku stay at home for a week, not one day.
Interesting news from that. Quickly, just wanted to go through some of the news. Nimet said that there will be 3-day dust haze and cloudiness nationwide. Just
tell us something we don't know. Like there's going to be some.
There will be rain. There won't be. It won't be so hot.
There'll be some candy coated raindrops.
What?
Yes,
oh
now.
God.
Candy coated raindrops.
What are we doing? Thank you very much.
Just tell us something like that.
Anyway, NAFDAC have also now announced where they had uncovered a warehouse with banned fake cosmetics worth over 3 billion naira in Lagos.
Let that sink in. 3 billion naira worth of fake and banned. Now, fake in the sense that it's not the real thing that you're supposed to be buying. Banned in the sense that it contains carcinogenic and other harmful materials that will destroy your skin, your body, your life, and everything. And they're still being stored because they're still being sold. especially for those people who like bleaching and who do all these other so-called things. 3 billion naira worth.
It is.
Be afraid, man. Be very afraid.
It is very crazy. It is definitely. It's crazy. Still going quickly. Let's go to Abuja, where the minister has cancelled 485 land titles after failed verification.
Yeah, well, it's no longer business as usual.
It is not. It's not.
If you own land I know someone personally that bought land off someone that actually didn't perfect the documents, and looks like the land is gone now. And I was telling him, you can still. He said no, that the person that sold it to him is not even picking his calls and all that. So it's actually happening in real time.
Like, you really need to.
So please, when you're buying property and everything, go all out to ensure that you cover all bases. Don't even say because it's a close friend or associate.
Okay, so just quickly before I wanted to talk about something else, but I just saw a particular news now update from Mr. El Rufai, as he has now sued the ICPC 1 billion naira over unlawful Abuja home invasion.
Yeah, this is well within his right as a Nigerian, and he feels violated by that action of the ICPC. They now have to prove that it was justified and that it was not illegal, or else they will have to pay. So I like the way that he has gone about using the law, and this is what we say, that the law is there for everybody. Ensure that you use it and use it wisely.
Use it wisely. Quickly, so back to the original conversation I wanted to say. So there are like one or two news coming from schools that we're going to be talking about. First, the University of Abuja, which I think is now Yakubu Gowon University, actually, has now approved the expulsion of 28 students over offenses ranging from examination malpractice to drug possession and other misconduct.
Yeah, it's expected. With the rate that you see things happen on social media, it is expected, and hopefully this would go beyond the University of Abuja to other universities, across the country.
So there's an update of a gist that we talked about last week, where a particular lady in the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, had accused a fellow student of hers of being a sexual offender. Apparently they had never met, nothing. She said that she saw a comment that he put out, and then she made videos and started calling him all sorts of names, calling him, put out his phone number,
gave his number to the world,
to people, and which
to
I think that when I say that, people are jobless, because it's not only, even if you send me number, so I'll use my own airtime to be calling somebody that I don't know. All of you don't have brain. Anyway, the reason for not having brain now is now where the 200 left students that was accused, the lady had now come out, because the guy now actually did the right thing, did not take the laws into his hands and reported to the school authority. And she came out to make a video that it was in the heat of the moment. Next time you check your common sense. Now he has now put out a statement from his lawyers saying that she has 14 days to issue a public apology and also pay damages of, I think, about 15 million naira.
I think I like the approach. There's been a lot of discussion about rape and false alarms, and sadly, the discussion is tilting towards too many false alarms.
Yes.
And we talked about the danger of this. We talked about the pros and the cons, and the cons far outweigh the pros, because the victims now will be afraid to come out because they don't know if people are going to doubt them.
Yeah, even if they come
the
out,
innocent
who's going to
are afraid
them?
to defend themselves, because especially if you're a man now, it is assumed that you are just guilty regardless. So now this lady has done this thing that Dolupo talked about, and the guy has fired back in the best way.
I love his approach. He has gone very legal, calculative.
He's gone to the courts.
Yeah.
And she already shot herself in the foot by issuing that apology before it was asked for. You know, that's you already
admitting to wrongdoing.
To wrongdoing, yeah, that you're guilty.
So at this point now, our family's got to be looking for 15 million naira.
They can negotiate. If I was the guy, I would just reduce it and take 14.9 million.
Yeah, not a nice person.
Yeah, I'll just remove.
Anyway, let's move on from that quickly, and let's talk about how it has now been announced that in the past 5 years, India has deported over 2,356 Nigerians. They're talking about how out of all the people that they've deported in 5 years, Nigerians take the cake.
From India.
From India.
I don't talk anything.
Y'all just do too much.
I plead the fifth.
Also, 19 more Nigerians are
they
said to
deport now from India.
India. And a lot of them misconduct.
India of they
a
deport
lot
now.
of misconduct and a lot of other things are being said to have been responsible for this. Yeah, the highest number of people that have been deported from India.
From India, this India.
Don't do that.
This India. Jesus. Oh, wow.
Anyway, 19 more Nigerians are set to face deportation from the United States as well.
It's deportation season. Ice baby is on the prowl. Ice baby.
Anyway, Lake Chad is shut down the Sudan border until further notice. They're saying that there's a lot of rancor in that country, and they're hoping that it doesn't get to their side.
Who shot at what?
Chad shut out the Sudan border.
When you say Lake Chad, I'm like, is Lake Chad a country?
Chad.
Better.
Thank you very much.
That's better.
All right. Talking about violence, there's now violence in Mexico, but it's funny because when you hear there's violence in Mexico, which day is there no violence in Mexico?
No, there's violence and there's violence.
So there's violence in Mexico. There's probably just maybe they're just parts. I don't even know how there's a place called Cancun and all that. People do holiday in those places. Because
but this is Jalisco.
It's still Mexico.
And other parts.
It's still Mexico. Mexico, it can fly. Anyway, after a drug lord was killed by the army.
El Mencho was eliminated by the Mexican military.
Yeah, it's a very just talking about violence as well. The Indian embassy has also urged its citizens.
Is that all? You have moved on?
Yes. Is there something you wanted to say about it?
Okay, don't worry, move on.
No, if you wanted to speak,
no,
ahead.
carry on.
Anyway, Indian embassy has said their citizens in specific terms, if it's by road, if it's by air, if it's by water, leave Iran.
Yeah, a whole lot is happening. Iran is negotiating, and with
a lot of
America, things are happening within Iran alone. The uprising is getting louder.
Yep.
And for instance, we recently found out that Great Britain actually was one of the countries that even stopped a potential attack. By refusing space to the attackist. I didn't mention your name.
Anyway, let's move on to a little bit of sports before we go, because explain to me how in the history of bad defending champions, I don't think I have seen anyone as bad as Remo Stars.
It's very sad.
Can you please help? What exactly is wrong with Remo Stars?
It's really sad because this time last year everybody was celebrating the fact that a privately owned Nigerian football team had gotten to the zenith of the league, and they eventually won it. And even their coach has been a part of the Super Eagles setup. But is that possibly the problem? Maybe the fact that their coach is not always around. No, now it was not always around too last season. It was going back and forth. So what's going on? Oh, maybe because they let a few players go. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Or could it be that the other teams just stepped up their game? However, I think it's a combination of many things. Remo Stars seems to be one of the best teams that happened. One of the best things that has happened to Nigerian football because of the investment of the owner, Mr. Shoname, in building a privately owned stadium. Not a stadium, sorry, a sporting complex. They have several pitches. The bleachers, everything in place. It's just so nice, and you don't want that to happen. That they now get relegated to the NNL.
But the way they are going, are they not going there?
It'd be like,
are they not going
there? It'd be like.
Anyway, still talking about sports. Let's go all the way. First things first. In Mexico now, because of this issue, football has now been sports. Basically, has now
Sports,
been
tennis, everything suspended.
Everything has been suspended quickly, and I think for safety reasons, it makes all the sense in the world. Now, let's move on from that. Let's go to the EPL, where it looks like there's an issue. I would say that this thing happened in the EPL, but immediately after that happened, the issue with Vinicius Junior and the Benfica person and the incident that happened, which there's still talks. We don't know what exactly the guy said. The guy said he didn't see anything racist. Vinicius and his teammate Mbappe had said that this is what he said. After that incident, there's been an increase in racial slurs, especially on social media against players. Now we've seen it happen in the Premier League in the past 1 week, about 4 different players.
Yeah, Tolu Arokodare is the latest one that we are talking about. So he missed the penalty, and of course his team is struggling to stay up. And the so-called fans of that team took it upon themselves to hit him up on social media and call him monkey and all sorts of
Sunderland winger
things.
also that also happened, where he received racist messages. They're not even writing these things on, they're even going to their DMs to write these things. It happened after Sunderland got defeated by Fulham 3-1. There were also reports of it was Chelsea defender Wesley Fofana, after getting a red card, also had racist slurs. Hannibal, Burnley midfielder, also got abused as well. 4 in 1 week.
Racism is not going away anytime soon. If we're under the illusion that we were all becoming smart and intelligent and bright, no, we're not. We're still I'm not one of them, and I know Dolupo is not. But some idiots out there still think that because they have lighter skin, they're better than the other person.
But does it? Okay, so now, can I ask what you think can be done about it? Because at this point, look, yes, you can argue and say that you can clamp down on the players,
on the team, but the entire team. Clamp down on, let them pay FT financial fines, shut down their stadiums for a long time.
Okay, can I give an example of the Chelsea Burnley game?
All right.
There was a Chelsea player that got abused.
Yeah.
A Burnley player also got abused.
So clamp down on both teams. Clamp down on Chelsea. Clamp down on Burnley. When Chelsea is losing out money, they can't open their stadium for 3 or 4 games. They have to go and look for an alternative stadium outside London and blah blah blah. When you do all of that, you think there won't be stricter in fishing out these criminals, and even those idiots will think twice, and the ones that don't think twice will keep costing the team a lot. Look, it has to go beyond all this carrying these banners. We are one game. Look, we all know it's not working. It's not working. Racism is real. It's not working.
It's just a ridiculous thing, because
all the campaign against racism is not working.
It's not working. It definitely isn't.
Let's stop fooling ourselves.
It definitely is not working at this point. Anyway, there's going to be Champions League football tomorrow and Wednesday. The second leg of all those games. We're going to be breaking them down tomorrow. But just wanted to put them out here. There was fantastic football that we saw over the weekend. But talking about Premier League match day 28, if I'm correct, 27 or 28, there's still one more game that's going to be played today. I think it's Everton-Chelsea. Sorry, Everton. Why do I keep saying Everton? Everton-Manchester United at 9 p.m. At this point, especially when you look at the Premier League, everybody has something to play for.
Top game.
You're either fighting to stay on top, or you're fighting to stay in the top 4, or you're fighting to stay in Europe in top 6, or you're fighting to stay in the middle, at least so that you don't drop, or you're fighting to not be in the relegation battle.
It's a top game, especially United have gone unbeaten since Carrick got there. Mm-hmm. But if anything can actually beat them, it's this Everton team. You know, they have this crazy blend of players that have been getting results and getting goals, and on their day, they would hurt anybody. It's actually going to be a cracker.
Okay, so that game will be at 9 p.m. just in case anybody was wondering. And on that note, that is all we have to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again at 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow to give you another wonderful edition of The Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.